Hello FPL managers, yes, we are back with another video. Wow, it's been a week already. If you're new to the channel, we drop FPL content once every week and we intend to do that until the season begins. Previously, we played around with our team and made a decent draft for about £95 million. And that's not 99.5, £95 million. So we had 5 million in the bank. But we were just messing around, and for this video we're gonna get serious. It's gonna be our official first draft for the Fantasy Premier League 2021-22 season. So if you guys really want to see that, then stick around and let's get cracking. So usually when we set up our draft, I try to follow some very simple rules, and these rules have been developed over a few years of playing Fantasy Premier League, and I really hope that these rules can probably guide you in also building up your teams. And they're very simple rules, very easy to follow. I try for starters not to bring in any newly transferred players. Even players who have been present in the league and just moved from one Premier League club to another. I try not to bring them in because usually I can't tell if those players are going to be starters or from game week 1. Usually managers would pull this trick where they rest the player and bring him in the second half, and I really don't have the stomach for that nonsense. So I just put those players, if I am really interested in that player, I put him in my watch list and see how he's being used before I bring him into my FPL starting 11. And that's the first rule I follow. The second rule is I don't bring in any newly promoted players, but if I'm interested in any one of them, and it's usually for financial reasons, usually because of the funds, I bring in a player who I don't have to put into my starting 11, and I keep him on the bench and see how he plays. But more often than not, I don't select any newly promoted players, okay? And I also try to stack in as much set piece takers as I can, at least 5 set piece takers. I try to put them into my starting 11, and that really goes a long way in helping you your potential for having points. So getting in at least 5 set piece takers can help. And I also try to get in at least 14 guaranteed starters. If I can get to 15, that would be nice, but 14 guaranteed starters. And the reason why I'm doing that is because my wildcard strategy, my first wildcard strategy for this season, I don't intend to do an early wildcard. Okay, so usually managers usually use their wild card between game week 4 or 5. Most managers would, but for this season I intend to have a first draft that would probably carry me for the first 10 game weeks. Okay, last season we had our first wild card in the 3rd game week, and that was a very terrible choice. It didn't yield very good results. But for this season, we're going to build a very strong 15-man squad that is going to be able to carry us until the game week 10, and then we can decide who we are bringing in, so we can have a better idea of the players who are performing really well before we bring them in. Okay, so that's going to be our wildcard strategy. But for you could plan to have it earlier than that. There's nothing wrong. It all depends on choice. So our choice this season is to have it further down the season. So we really need a very strong 15-man squad. Okay, so that's our principles, and knowing that, our team is going to look something like this. We're going to start with the goalies. In goal, we're going with Sanchez and Guaita. Most people are going to go with Sanchez because his fixtures are looking very good, and he's a good goalkeeper. And I think from most drafts that I have seen, a lot of people are going for Foster. And if you watched our previous video we had about the first drafts, I said most people would be going for Foster or from Watford. Well, for multiple reasons. One, he's very, very cheap. He's at 4.0 million at the present, and he featured for a lot of Watford fixtures last season in the Championship. So I think they're hoping that he's going to continue to feature, and for that price, if he's a guaranteed starter, then it would be a no-brainer. But for us, I'm not entirely sure about Foster. I think he's not going to start for Watford. I don't think so. So I've gone for the starting goalie for Crystal Palace, Guaita. As for our starting goalie, I was kind of split between two goalkeepers. It was going to be either Sanchez or Henderson. And if you look at the stats, if you look at Sanchez, if you look at his stats, he made 27 appearances last season. He made 2.4 saves per 90. At a save percentage of 71%. So of all the saves, all the shots he faced, he saves 7 out of 10 shots. That's impressive. And he made a total saves of 66, conceded 27 goals. So that's on average 1 goal a game. And he kept 10 clean sheets of those 27 starts. So he's a good goalie. As compared to Henderson though, Dean Henderson made 13 appearances for Manchester United. He made 3.1 saves per 90, so already better than Sanchez. 77% saves were made of all the shots that he faced. A total saves of 40. So in 13 appearances, he made 40 saves. That's a lot. Okay. He considered 12 goals, so on average, that's 1 goal a game. So no different from Sanchez. And kept 4 clean sheets. So also not much different from Sanchez. So he makes more saves than Sanchez. And if I had to make a choice between these two players, going off the save percentage alone, I would be going for Dean Henderson. But I'm going to be leaning towards Sanchez because he's going to be higher owned. His ownership is going to be higher, and he has better fixtures, starting fixtures. His game week 1 and 2 fixtures are quite good. So I would lean towards Sanchez, and that's how I'm going to go for the goalies. I'm going to go Sanchez and Guaita in goal. In defense, however, I've gone for Lowton, Digne, Shaw, Williams, and Cresswell. Williams might get loaned out from Manchester United to another Premier League team, so hopefully if that happens he might become a starter, but I've picked him because he's really cheap. He's 4.0 million. He most likely will not start, so he's just a placeholder for our 15-man squad. But for other defenders, I'm going to be starting 3 at the back with Digne, Shaw, and Cresswell. All 3 of them are set-piece takers, and the only position I was not 100% sure of was the position of Digne. If I had gone for Henderson in goal, then I would have had to downgrade Digne to probably a Tierney. And since I've gone for Sanchez, I've stuck with Digne. But how I made that decision when I compared both players, Digne had 9 assists last season. He made 215 crosses. He created 11 big chances for Everton. Although he conceded 42 goals, Everton weren't too good in defense last season. He kept 9 clean sheets and made 13 shots. And I think he started about 34 games for Everton. But when you compare to Kieran Tierney, he scored a goal, made 4 assists, made 125 crosses, and created 5 big chances. This probably is because Tierney played left centre back most of the time, rather than a flat out left back for Arsenal. He considered 27 goals as compared to Digne's 42. He's really Arsenal's defense was really good last season. 8 clean sheets for Tierney, and he made 15 shots. So it was really between these two players, but I went with Digne because I could afford to, and stuck with Sanchez in goal. So that's how that decision came about. And if at all I'm gonna change from Sanchez to Henderson, then I would have to downgrade from Digne to Tierney, and I wouldn't really have any problems doing that. Okay, so the rest of our defense, Lowton, who could probably be Mitchell or Lamptey if he's back, Digne, Shaw, Williams, and Cresswell. That's my defense for my draft. Now in midfield, now we're getting to the juicy part of the squad. We went with Brownhill, Mount, Rafinha, Salah, and Mane. Brownhill, we went with him because he's a starter for Burnley. He made about 33 or 34 appearances for Burnley last season. And I would rather go for an attacking-minded player than a defensive-minded player like probably a Romeo or Bissouma, who are both also rated 4.5 million on FPL. So I switched and went with Brownhill, but he's not going to be a starter for us. The rest of the midfield will Mount, Rafinha are both on corners, and Salah is on penalties. The tricky part was when I switched from Fernandes to Mane. This team initially had Fernandes in it, but after some thought, I decided on Mane, and there's really no special reason why. If you look at the stats, Mane doesn't really stand up to Fernandes, so I'm not even going to go through the stats because Fernandes crushes him on that. Okay, so the reason why I switched and went for Mane instead, because if you look at my defense, I don't have any Liverpool defenders, and for a team that has very, very good fixtures as Liverpool does, it may go on to hurt me to not have either Trent or Robertson, especially as more than half of FPL managers are going to have either one of those players. So I thought it would be smarter to go double Liverpool attack and save myself too much hurt by just sticking with Salah, who most managers are already going to have and most are already going to captain. Okay, so I went with Mane, and also because Mane's fixtures in comparison to Fernandes's is a lot better. Okay, so that's why I went with Mane. Initially, this was Fernandes, but I think Mane might be the better long-term pick. And I say long-term by I'm talking about 10 game weeks. Okay, he may switch to Fernandes depending on when Liverpool's fixtures get a bit tougher, or if Mane turns out to not be in form. But with Fernandes featuring in the Euros, you could say he may not start game week 1 automatically. We don't know that. I'm not saying that for certain. I'm just saying Mane, who didn't feature because he's not eligible to feature for the Euros, is definitely guaranteed to start for Liverpool, and your fixtures are just better. Okay, so that's why I'm going for Mane instead of Fernandes. Okay, so that's our midfield. As for our strike force, I went with Antonio, Watkins, and Richarlison. And here there was a decision to be made between Richarlison and Kelechi. For Richarlison, he made 34 appearances for Everton, scored 7 goals, made 6 FPL assists. His expected goals was 10.7, expected assists at 3.4, shot accuracy at 53%, and he made 81 shots and missed 10 big chances. But in comparison to Kelechi, he scored 12 goals in 25 appearances. That's very good. That's almost a goal a game. Created 2 assists. His expected goals was 9.1, which is quite good. He made less appearances than Richarlison. He kind of overperformed his expected goals, but still if you consider the number of appearances, it's still the same region or even better than Richarlison's. Expected assists was 3.5, also better than Richarlison's. Shot accuracy 64%, number of shots 59, and he missed 9 big chances. On paper, Kelechi is the better asset, and in truth, I'm not picking Kelechi. I'm not picking Richarlison because he's the better asset, but I'm picking him because I'm not entirely sure about Kelechi's position for Leicester at the moment, because Leicester just brought in a very good striker in Patson Daka, and I'm not entirely sure if Vardy is going to be dropped for Daka, or if Kelechi himself is going to be dropped. But would have to watch and see who's going, how Brendan Rodgers is going to line up his team. If is he going to go with Patson Daka and Vardy in attack, or is he going to go with Kelechi and Daka? Because I don't think Daka is going to be on the bench. Somebody is going to have to sit, except all three of them are going to start. Then I can see that happening. Okay, so that's why I'm not jumping and getting Kelechi just yet. So we'll have to wait and see. But if he turns out to be a guaranteed starter, then I can easily just switch, because Leicester have some good fixtures in the beginning of the season, so would want to capitalize on that. So that's it. That's the reason I'm picking Richarlison over Kelechi. Also, there's rumors that Maddison might not be at Leicester next season, and if that happens, it will be interesting to find out who the set piece taker for Leicester is going to be. I would think Tielemans would take the set pieces, and right now he's at 6.5 million. So a 6.5 million midfielder taking set pieces looks really juicy to me. I don't know about you, but if that's the case, and they're starting with 3 forwards, probably going a 3-4-3, and no number 10, then Tielemans is going to look like a very good asset to have, especially if he's going to be taking set pieces in the absence of Maddison. So I'm going to have to be on the lookout for that particular part of the game next season. So that's going to be our team. That is how it looks. Sanchez and Guaita in goal. We'll go with Lowton, who could be Mitchell, could be Lamptey. We are going with Digne, Shaw, Williams, Cresswell in defense, Brownhill, Mount, Rafinha, Mane, Salah in midfield, Watkins, Richarlison, Antonio in as our strike force. So it's going to be a 3-4-3 with Sanchez in goal. Our bench is going to be Guaita, Brownhill, Lowton, and Williams. Okay, so our team kind of follows our principles. We have at least 14 guaranteed starters. All of them start except Williams. None of them are newly transferred in. None of them are newly promoted players. And we've got about 5 guaranteed set piece takers. That's in Digne, Shaw, Cresswell, Mount, Rafinha, and Salah. All take set pieces. Salah takes penalties, and the rest of them are on set pieces. So that's even before we get into our forwards in Watkins, Richarlison, and Antonio. So it follows our principles, and I think this is a very good team. The only question marks here are if I'm going to be going with Henderson instead of Sanchez, which in turn is going to have me downgrade from Digne to Tierney, or eventually if I'm going to stick with Mane or go with Fernandes. And also if I'm going to stick with Richarlison and go with Kelechi. So that's the only question marks that I have. Basically, the team is going to stay like this. I highly doubt I'm going to change my mind on any of these positions, which would have a knock-on effect on the rest of the squad. But by and large, this is definitely going to be the team we're going with for the season, for game week 1. And I think that's it. I'm going to be dropping another video, and that's going to be concentrated more on our prediction league. We're going to decide on our 4 watch list players for game week 1. If you're confused, you want to know what this prediction league is about, there's a link on the description on our previous video which kind of explains the rules and how we're going about it. It's just a bit of fun, nothing serious. Okay, so that's going to be that. I think that's going to be dropping in about a week's time, and we're drawing really close to the season. I expect a lot of interesting things to happen before then. Pre-season has already kicked off for some teams, so we would want to be keeping an eye on that, on team sheets and on performances. That's going to give us a better idea of how teams are going to be set up, on which teams are in form, on which players are performing really well, on which players we would like to bring into our teams just in case they are doing better than the ones we have already selected for our drafts. So that's going to be it. That's it for the video. I hope it wasn't too long. I'll say cheers, have fun, and I'll catch you on the next one.